The fox's treasure. Once upon a time, in an era we now call the Stone Age, the valley between the Tigris and Euphrates was known for its extensive marshlands and lakes formed by the river's overflows. These wetlands were home to a variety of plant and animal species, and here lived little Suri. She was a clever and pretty young fox. The tips of her ears were dark, almost black, as were her paws, while her belly and the tip of her tail were white. She enjoyed wandering among the houses of humans because she often found food there. But she didn't like it when sometimes the dogs noticed her and chased her away. One night, while she was wandering as usual among the houses, she heard some people talking loudly by a fire. At first, she was more interested in the bones they occasionally tossed away after finishing their meal, but their conversation suddenly became interesting to her as well. One of the men recounted that he had heard somewhere that in the middle of the lake lived a large pike, with a golden belly, and whoever managed to catch it would grant them 3 wishes. The discussion ignited. Some believed it, while others did not. Some argued that the pike was a freshwater fish, preferring lakes, rivers, and marshes with cold and clear water, unlike the warm and sometimes arid regions where they lived. Others countered, saying that if the pike could grant any wish, why couldn't it live among them? In any case, little Sura's imagination immediately embarked on an adventure-filled journey. She imagined how she would catch the pike, but she wasn't sure exactly what to ask of it. Sometimes she wanted one thing, sometimes another. It was hard for her to decide. She paid no attention to the voices saying that it was hard to catch because it slipped from one's grasp. She thought that clumsy humans might find it difficult, but with her fox claws she would catch it immediately. She just didn't know how to get to the middle of the lake, where the magical pike was said to live. She spent a night pondering what to ask of the pike if she caught it. She decided that her first wish would be for her den to always be filled with food, both for her and for all the foxes in the world, so that they would never go hungry again. Her second request would be to turn herself as white as snow. When she was very young, she had heard somewhere about a beautiful fox, white all over, and ever since then she had wanted to become white too. And her third wish would be for all foxes to become immortal. Once she had decided what to ask for, she went to the lake. She dipped a toe in the water, but it was as cold as ice, and she didn't like it at all, and she didn't even know how to swim. She hadn't thought about that. She was so excited to catch the pike with the golden belly that she hadn't even thought about how she would get to the middle of the lake. But being clever, she quickly figured it out. She grabbed a large log, laid on her belly on it, and paddled with her 4 paws until she reached the middle of the lake. What's more, she tied a piece of meat she had found along the way to her tail, and she planned to use that meat to catch the pike. She sat there in the middle of the lake, with her tail dipped in the water, but the pike didn't appear. She got bored and remembered that people said the pike not only lived in the middle of the lake but also very deep, somewhere at the bottom of the lake. So that was probably the problem. Her tail didn't reach the bottom of the lake. So she returned to the shore, and once again she pondered what to do. As she stood there at the edge of the lake, she noticed that the people had begun to speak loudly, to argue, and she could see that the rain was coming. She already knew from experience that when people spoke loudly amongst themselves, and especially when rain was approaching, they weren't paying much attention to foxes, and before long they would disappear into their homes. She knew that before rain, some fish were much easier to catch because before a storm the sky darkened, making the fish feel safer and less exposed to predators, and with the rising water level they approached the shores more, to take advantage of the increased water level and the new food resources brought by the rain. Did humans not know this? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. They didn't really like to fish in such weather, and they left their boats tied to the lakeshore. That's all little Suri needed. She untied a boat, climbed inside, and found all the fishing gear there. No one noticed the boat drifting away from the shore. Suri hadn't even reached the middle of the lake, and she had already caught a very big fish. And not just any fish, but the magical pike. She could hardly believe it. She barely managed to tell the pike her first wish. The pike granted it immediately, filling all the fox dens with food, Only Suri couldn't see that from there in the middle of the lake. So she asked the pike,
"How can I know that you really granted my first wish? Show me the dens filled with food, or else I won't believe you."
Very well, Suri, I'll show you. But that was your second wish. There's only one more.
And just like that, she was instantly taken to the fox dens, which were indeed full. Suri was happy, but she regretted losing one wish out of 3, which could have been granted if she hadn't been so distrustful. Now what to do? She pondered what to ask for. Should she become as white as snow, so that everyone will admire her beauty, or should she ask for immortality? She didn't want to give up either one, and as she kept thinking and time passed, suddenly she saw that the pike was beginning to die because they were on dry land, and the pike couldn't live long without water, just a few moments. Suri was terribly frightened and began to scream.
"Please, pike, don't die. Don't die, pike, I beg you, don't die."
As soon as the pike heard this, it immediately turned back into the lake, but all it said to Suri was,
All right, Suri, I won't die. But that was your third wish.
To Suri's amazement, she didn't even know what to say or think. Even now she couldn't believe that she had actually caught the magical pike, that it had granted her a wish. She felt sorry for losing 2 of the wishes she had initially planned to ask the pike for, but the joy of the other foxes, who didn't know about Suri's 3 wishes but suddenly found their dens filled with food that never ran out, this joy comforted Suri. She didn't think about what else she could have gained. And the pike, who didn't tell Suri, but appreciated Suri's good intention, that it felt sorry for him and thought more about not dying, and not about his third wish without Suri knowing, gave him another gift. From that day on, people never killed any foxes. They didn't chase them away or hunt them for their fur. Over time, the foxes noticed this, that everywhere foxes had problems with people, only they lived in harmony with people, but no one knew that this was also thanks to Suri, not even she knew. And so the foxes remained russet, with black ears and paws, instead of being as white as snow. In conclusion, Suri's encounter with the magical pike not only granted her unexpected gifts, but also brought about unforeseen harmony between foxes and humans. Despite losing 2 of her wishes, Suri found solace in the joy of her fellow foxes and the newfound peaceful coexistence with humans. As the russet foxes continued to roam the land, their once black ears and paws became symbols of a hidden bond forged by one clever and compassionate fox named Suri.
The characters and the story are fictional, but their attitudes resonate among us in our society. Historical truths are as follows. The Fertile Crescent is a historical region located in the Middle East, renowned for its fertile soils and for being the cradle of several important ancient civilizations. It was the birthplace of agriculture and some of the earliest human civilizations, including the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. Foxes lived and still live in the Fertile Crescent region. Species such as the red fox Vulpes vulpes and the Rupel's fox Vulpes ruopelii are native to this region. These foxes are adaptable and can thrive in diverse habitats, including the semi-arid and desert regions of the Fertile Crescent. However, it is highly unlikely that pike and foxes would have coexisted commonly in the same region during the Paleolithic era due to significant differences in habitat and ecological needs. The northern pike Esox lucius is a freshwater fish that prefers colder waters, typical of lakes and rivers in the northern regions of the northern hemisphere. In the Fertile Crescent, which includes regions in the Middle East such as Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and parts of Turkey, pike are not native. The climate and types of aquatic habitats in this area are not suitable for pike. In conclusion, while the story may be a work of fiction, it serves as a reminder of the enduring parallels between human nature and the natural world, offering insights into our shared past and the diverse ecosystems that have shaped our history and continue to influence our lives today.